The preparation to those who fight their darkest fears. Lauren's studies begin. The friends flew away from the Temple of Sound and continued their journey till dawn. They were too excited to think about sleep. All their nerves felt overdrawn. They landed in a lovely flowering meadow surrounding a beautiful grove. Lauren removed a glowing book from a pack to read with feverish love. It was written by Iminium Eisdor's own hand in a wonderfully flowing script, composed by a man with a poet's heart and incredible musical gift. He wrote of his exile from the Dream Lords, his journey to Crystal Lake, how he gathered together the greatest musicians for immortality's sake. It took many years to develop the skill required to prolong their lives, but on the way they learned dreadful secrets of a darkness that always survives. He gave a similar warning as Philip of the frightening Nahual, the source of Luceria's terrible powers, always waiting to conquer all. He stressed they must stay above the 8th level while joining their dreaming minds, or else the power could capture their will to bend to its evil designs. Lauren was scared by this fearful description and stuffed the book back in the pack, but knew he would still attempt anything if he could only bring Tina back home. After resting for only a couple of hours, they flew on to the Temple of Dreams, arriving along with the setting sun surrounded by glorious beams. They went inside the temple to sleep, first smuggling in all the books, sneaking them down into Lauren's chambers to hide within various nooks. When Lauren's friends finally went off for the night, he stayed up and studied for an hour, then discovered he'd need to use Tina's portrait to focus the dreamer's vast power. It would take a crowd of 100 sleepers all gathered with her vision in mind. Then he'd guide them down to the 8th dream level so the ultimate powers they'd find. He would need the most beautiful music and words he'd ever composed in his life, yet no obstacle would dare hold him back if he could make Tina his wife. He had wonderful thoughts flowing through his soul as he finally fell off to sleep. He dreamed of running in a meadow with her, feeling wondrous love beautifully deep. Yet there was a frightening darkness beyond that was gradually taking form, and Lauren could just about grasp its meaning as he sensed the approaching storm. The plan. Next morning, Lauren walked into the gardens and brought his 3 friends along. He asked Daryl, "Where can I gather a crowd of 100 to hear my new song?" But Kedra answered him instantly, "In the city of Malandray. Coffee shops and taverns are filled with music. It's their favorite pastime all day. Malandray Square holds a public temple devoted to music and art, with a domed hall large enough to bring hundreds who will long for your music to start. The city is 400 miles due east on a well-traveled wagon road, with wonderful scenery along the way. Iluria's best, I am told." Lauren said, "I'll need to travel there soon and bring Tina's portrait with me. Someone will have to make preparations so I can honor her publicly." Kedra said, "Her legend's revered everywhere, for she slew the dread god of fire. And people praise you as a mystic musician who performs with great love and desire. Daryl and I will go and make ready for your greatest performance to date. Just tell us a certain time you'll be there. We wouldn't want you to be late." The preparation. Kedra flew Puffy, while Daryl rode Fluffy and raced off to Malandray, while Lauren and Siri packed up Tina's portrait in the carefulest possible way. Stored in her family's beautiful carriage, pulled by 2 rainbow-maned horses, they headed off east upon the long road to a future filled with strange forces. Each day they relished incredible sights in every direction around, first traveling through fabulous wavy hills where unseen creatures made a sweet sound, next through the towering pine forest trees, many seeming to reach a cloud, then under great stone arches miles high, whence Titan waterfalls thundered loud. Lauren had said they'd arrive in 3 weeks, which gave their friends plenty of time. He practiced with lute and song every evening, forming wonders of music and rhyme. He and Siri enjoyed every sunset together. Their friendship grew strongly and sweetly, but by candlelight Loren read the great books till he'd studied dream grouping completely. He knew he'd be working with regular people, not dream lords or masters of sound. He'd need a special new way to guide them so their deepest dreams would abound. He gathered fresh herbs throughout the long journey for making a mystical brew to bring everyone down to the 8th dream level before his last song was through. He had boiled and prepared it just perfectly by the time they reached flowering meadows, finally seeing Malandray's towers in the distance, casting dark and ominous shadows. Malandray. 3 weeks after Loren and Siri began, they arrived in Malandray's square. Beautiful signs were outside the temple, with a vast crowd around everywhere. Kedra was out in the front, smiling brightly, while Darrell stood at her side. Loren felt greatly exhilarated even after his 3 weeks-long ride. The concert would start within a few minutes, but he'd arrived on the previous day, making certain a fabulous feast was prepared, so his plans were well on their way. He had dripped just the right amount of his brew into everyone's portion of food to induce the deepest and most vivid dreaming while they slept in the happiest mood. Now was his wondrous time of fulfillment as he led the great crowd inside. He could feel all his life's dreams coming together like the moon pulls the ocean's vast tide. Then he felt a slight twinge of nervousness from the strange painting above the door, but it was just the time creature from childhood books he had seen many times before.